Today we're talking Chester's versus Cheetos. I'm not necessarily a flaming hot connoisseur. I love spicy food. Like I'm Argentine, Italian. I have my ethnicity has no factor into why I like spicy food. I mean, maybe it does, but we're talking Chester Cheetos. What's the difference? Let's get into it. Are you guys a fan? My girlfriend loves flaming hot Cheetos. I went to public school in Baltimore County, so we had Chester fries. Let's get into it. What's the difference? So I'm going to give you the layman terms answer first. Chester's and Cheetos are closely related. They're owned by the same company. Chester Cheetah is the fictional mascot character for Cheetos, which is a brand of cheese-flavored snack foods produced by Frito-Lay, a subsidiary of Pepsi-Cola or PepsiCo. Cheetos are a popular snack that comes in various forms, including crunchy and puff textures, spicy, cheesy, etc. The main ingredient in Cheetos is cornmeal, which is shaped and flavored to create the distinct cheese taste that many people enjoy. Chester Cheetah is the anthropomorphic cheetah character used in marketing and advertising to promote Cheetos, while Chester's, in being associated as the mascot, is a spin-off of a cheaper alternative brand that is owned by the same company but makes a cheaper cornmeal based puff fry type snack. Now let's get into how they're different, and we'll start with Cheetos and then we'll talk about Chester's. So I'm not going to spend too much time on Cheetos because we all know the story. So it begins in the late 1940s when a man named Charles Elmer Doolin decided to experiment with a new kind of snack. Doolin, the founder of Frito-Lay, aimed to create a cheese-flavored snack that would captivate the palates of his customers. Now enter the first iteration of Cheetos in 1948, a simple, puffed cornmeal snack with a light dusting of cheddar cheese. This early Cheetos laid the foundation for what obviously would become a cheesy snack empire. As the years passed, Frito-Lay continued to innovate. In the 70s, they introduced the iconic crunchy Cheetos we know today. The crispy, cheese-covered snacks quickly gained popularity, making Cheetos a household name. There's no discussion about Cheetos without mentioning, the cheetah that we talked earlier, Chester the Cheetah, which obviously brought a new level of personality to the brand and which will lead into the story of Chester fries. Now, we can't talk about Cheetos without the story of a janitor named Richard Montens, who in the early 90s, working at the Frito-Lay plant, had a groundbreaking idea that would change the course of Cheetos history. He created the Fury Flamin' Hot Cheetos, inspired by his love for Mexican street corn. The spicy twist on the classic snack resonated with customers, transforming the Flamin' Hot Cheetos as basically a cult classic. And if you guys don't know this, there's a movie. He eventually became VP at PepsiCo, and there's a movie called Flamin' Hot that tells the story. Now, some people have debated the validity of it, but that's basically the whole story. They're worth a bunch of money now. Let's talk about how they're related to Chester fries. So we all know why you guys clicked on this video. You want to know what or how Chester Flamin' Hot Fries, Chester fries came to be. 1993 is the year that they were introduced. There's very limited information on the history of them. And for my deep dive on the web, I could only find a few blog posts and stuff with citations, of course. It's always crazy to see how a story can go from being something easily remembered to, and one person having credit like Richard, to now a guy, Tom Greco, who invented Chester hot fries and just the Chester fries in 83. And then Chester Cheeto was invented in 91. And then Flamin' Hot was invented in 93. Was the original creator allegedly to the Flamin' Hot Cheetos, but it all started with Chester fries, which was kind of like a Frito-Lay's spin-off cheap attempt to make some money off the side, it's kind of a unique story that I don't think you think much of. Chester Cheetah was born in 91, okay? And Chester Hot Fries started in 83, but the Chester Flamin' Hot Fries start in 93. And the big thing for me is when you look at this, the idea was Chester hot fries was invented by Tom Greco. And I feel like that's definitely an interesting part about this, because we know that Richard Montez is the guy who created Flamin' Hot Cheetos, but at the same time, they say Tom Greco was the guy who created it. So the guy who did all this might have been the guy who actually created Flamin' Hot Cheetos, Tom Greco, which is pretty crazy. And I think it's interesting to see how the stories of products are discovered becomes convoluted, because as time passes, it's kind of like telephone. People forget what the original story was, and now it's something of the past. So for me, I think they said 93 was the first time. So if you guys don't know what Chester fries are, they're basically the budget version of Cheetos. And they're like, Hyundai is Cheetos and Kia is Chester's. So they're not Cheetos, they're Flamin' Hot Chester fries. A lot of people ate those, especially if you went to public school. They're not fries, but if you by fries you mean fried or baked slices of potato mixed with cornmeal. Clear when Frito-Lay says fries in this case, they mean like a general fry shape. And what you look at them, it sounds kind of gross, but they're a recognizable food, and they're sort of less of a corn and potato snack and more of a cornmeal and dehydrated potato flake snack. So it's a processed food. And for a lot of people, they use the Chester Cheetah as the mascot, as he got his own food line, and he's the mascot for both of them. But yes, the food Chester Cheetah mascot is the mascot for both Cheetos and Chester's. And Chester's brand comes from Cheetos. But the thing is PepsiCo owns Cheetos. Frito-Lay owns Chester's. So there is a weird, like, interesting part about this, in my opinion, because Chester is a guy that, it's funny that we're talking about just a cornmeal snack, but for me, it definitely brings this interesting part about just the history of like how food, it's just basically a bargain version, a watered down. I'm trying to think of another snack that has a similar thing that they do, as I want to think there's other hot fries, but basically hot fries I assume are probably cheaper to make, and they're a lot more popular. I always liked the fries better than, I was never a Cheetos kid. I always didn't like my fingers getting covered. But yeah, I want to hear everybody's thoughts down below. What are your opinion on the whole Cheetos Chester? What is it? Because to me, I think it's an interesting story of how brands are able to make money off of the simplest of foods, I guess it would be. Just how we can take something that we've already made a bunch of and continue to make products by making it cheaper and simpler. And I think Chester's is an example of that.